Hello, welcome back. We have seen some of the other statements, basic control statement, the if statement. We've also seen the block. We've looked at the do while loop and we also looked at the while loop. Now, in contrast to the do while loop, in relative to the do while loop and the while loop, we could also have the for loop. So, whatsoever the for loop can do, whatsoever the while loop and the do while loop can do, the for loop can also do. They are just that in the case of a follow, the kind of the control of this program is a little bit much more different. The kind of process the follow follows is a little bit different. So this image is going to give us an insight of how the follow operates. So okay, this is the for loop right here. We have the initialization at the very first part. So the while loop we have been seeing so far. When we have to check for a condition, most times if we are using a variable, the initialization of that variable is being done before we get to that condition. But in the case of the for loop contains the parentheses that holds the initialization, the condition, and also the what is known as the update of the variable. So that is how the for loop operates. It initializes, checks the condition, and if the condition is true, it executes the statement that is associated with that block, with that for loop, and then it's either increment or decrement the value of what that is inside of the condition that is being initialized. That is the value that is being initialized at this point. It will either increment it or decrement it. Then it goes on and checks the condition again. This kind of loop is also known as the for while loop. We'll look at it in much more detail. And when the condition evaluates false, you know the drill. It is going to skip the block of the statement and continue with whatsoever follows up with the program. So I'll open up IntelliJ at this point. And yes, we'll be doing something exciting also, but still around prime numbers. But before then, I want to show you a very basic thing we can do with a for loop. That is printing the first 10 number, which is 0 to 9, like we did with the while loop when I introduced it at the very first instance. So I think I don't need to make use of this code anymore, but please, I'll advise you to create a new class for this tutorial. Keep this one as an archive so that you can fall back to it anytime you feel like you need a thing or two from any of them. Please just do as I instructed. So I'm going to delete the whole of this. Coming IT. So I'm done. So this how to declare a for loop. Very simple. All we have to do is type the keyword for, and I think you should just pop it up for me, but I think that is not the case in this instance. So we have to specify int I equals to 0, and this is known as the initialization part. Then we include a semicolon. Then I is less than 10. This is known as the condition part. As you can see, we also have a relational operator at this point. Then we do the update of the variable, which is I plus plus, just to increment the value of I. Now we are going to print out all the values between 0 and 10. For that, we are going to do something like this: south, and we see I. Let's add a space just to separate each and every number in the range of 0 to 10. Now I'm going to run the program. Control Shift F10. This time for restart. I think the program is building up at this button. Let's just give it some time. So what we have here is 0 to 9 being printed out, as you can see so clear. But what I want to do is take this ln out, which simply stands for a new line, and run the program one more time so that all of them would be on a single line. So here we have all the numbers from 0 to 9 on a single line. So this is the most basic thing you can do with a for loop. You saw how we did it to the while loop. In the case of a while loop, what we did was initialize the variable. I can say in j equals to 0, and then I will say why j is less than 10. I want you to just simply print out the value of j. So I'm going to say j plus space, and instead of this print line again, I'm going to remove the ln for just print, so that it prints on a single line. So sorry, j is less than 10. Okay, yes. Now in the case of the while loop, just discover I printed out the value of j at this point, but I'm not doing any increment or decrement at this point. So I have a kind of warning that says this is always true because there is no increment or decrement at this point. So what I have to do is, due to the fact that I'll be adding another statement, another line of statement to this one, I also have to wrap in a block. And yes, and do that. And then I just have to increment the value of g again. I hope you understand. Because I have two statements, I'll have to wrap in a block. Now you see that the warning is gone. So what I have to do now is run the program. Just so you see. So you see the abstraction and the way that the for loop makes while block a little bit shorter, because we have the initialization, the update, and also the conditional statement all in the same line with just the use of the for loop. So the for loop can just take a single line, the block of the for loop, that's the statement, because it's just a single statement. I'm just printing out the value of I can just reduce it to just one line. So I don't really need the block for printing out this value. But in the case of the while loop, you can see that I have to increment this value. So the for loop just took 2 lines in this scenario. That is not the case in all situation, but for this, I think the for loop is much more better to make use of. While the while loop took about 5 lines of code. So the for loop just simplify things in this aspect. Now I'm going to put a print line statement that separates the for loop from the while loop. Just a simple SOUT, enter. So that will do. And let me just say indication of a while loop. And it's as simple as that. So we have the indication of a while loop at this point. Okay, I think at the end of the day, I also include another one. Okay, just to separate it. So that is it for the for loop. But this is just a simple program. What I want us to do is to do something quite interesting with it, and that is printing out the prime numbers between 1 and 100. So I want you to like pause this video and take that task yourself, test yourself so far, and see what you've learned so far, put it in practice. So if you are done with the task, you can continue the video and check out my own solution. But I want you to make things much more easier for you by making use of the for loop. So the range of value should be between 1 and 100. you are going to print out all the prime numbers between 1 and 100. Remember, let me give you an hint. The prime number is a number that cannot be divided by any other number except 1 and itself. And the base number that you have to check for is 2, 3, 5, and 2, 3, 5. That's it. Nothing more. Just 2, 3, 5. If a number cannot be divisible by any of those, then believe me, that number is a prime number. I will have to delete the whole of this stuff associated with this blog. Yes, so this is your chance to pause the video, give the task a try, and then you can come back and continue from this point. Okay, now for you to get started, remember I said the values between 1 and 100. So I'll have to say it is equal to 1 and in fact 100. Now just to make it simplified, 1 is not really a prime number. 1 is not really a prime number. So let me just remove this one and say 2. Let's start from 2. And then I'll have to include my block at this point. So we are going to say if I mod 2, if I mod 2 is equal to 0 and I is not equal to 2, I don't want to do anything, so I'll just leave an empty block at that point. So let me just clear out everything. Oh my god. Else, if the whole of this, but in this scenario, I'll say 3. Control C, Control V, and instead of 2, I'm going to say 3. Then also don't do anything. I want to take the whole of this to the next line, and then I'll change the value of 3 from 3 to 5. Now the multiple selection I'm doing is I click on the number, I light it, that's by clicking on it, then I'll just do alternate G to select the next, and then I'll just press what I want to change it to. So in this case, I'm changing to 5, because if a number can be divisible by any of these, that means the number is not a prime number. So that is it. Don't do anything. I just left an empty block at this point. Then the next thing is to print as. So S, if any of these checks turns out to be false, then this S part will get executed. So S, what we have to do is print out the value. I want to just put them in a single line. Print out the value of I and plus and a space to separate each of the prime numbers that will be gotten from our code. So now, right here, I'll run the program. So as you can see, we have all the prime numbers printed out on our console. It just took a little bit of time, not that much. Immediately we got our answers on the console. We have 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and so on and so forth. And if you check closely, really well, all of these numbers are prime numbers, and they are between the range of 0 to 100, because the very first prime number is 2, and we have 2 at this point. So that is it for printing out the prime number. Now there is a way I can also refactor this code, and we'll just make use of the if and else part. But again, it would be a combination of what different boolean operators. And let's see how I can achieve that. Instead of having this other else if part, I just need a simple if else part. So that is it. So what I want to do is delete this other else if part and update my code. So I will have to wrap this in a pair of parentheses. That is it. We are going to make use of the or symbol. So I mod 3 equals 0 and I is not equals to 3, or I mod 5 equals to 0 and I is not equals to 5. So recall that immediately one of these tests turns out to be true, one of these conditions turns out to be true, it skips the rest checks because I'm making use of the or symbol, and then executes the else part. Just to make things simplified, I removed the other two else if parts, so we have to reduce the lines of code with the use of the combination of the or operator, the use of the or operator. So I'll run the program again, shift F10 for that, and we still have the same result on our console. Okay, that is it. It's right here, no change. So you see there are a couple of ways and combination you can achieve the same result using. All you have to do is, okay, let me look for the most efficient way. That's what programming is all about. So that is it. You can use a combination of a skill or another. Like we've achieved this with a for loop, you can also achieve the same with a while loop and even a do while loop. So that is it for the for loop. Now we have come to the end of this video. Please, if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so. Give this video a thumbs up, ping that bell icon, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.